Hello, hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of People Always Ask on Queen Blueprint TV, hashtag QBTV, where royalty lives, of course, including moi. Hello, this is a very special episode for the creatives. I know a lot of y'all, this comes up all the time. I work with creatives. You put pressure on yourself. You want to be perfect. You want to get that piece of writing out. You want to get that book that you've been meaning to write drafted, but you can't get it out your brain and onto the paper, or even worse, you can't think about it. So today I've brought my girl along who's also planning an amazing retreat based on this specifically with me called the Unplugged Retreat. It is poetess, poet, as her son would say. JRose, she's a spoken word artist and also the co-creator of the Writer's Unblock journal. So welcome.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
So of course, before I go any further, I definitely got to plug the retreat that we're doing together.
Yes.
And so I want to make sure that everybody knows about what's going on, what's happening in this April 23rd, because if you are a writer, this is specifically for you. And so one of the things that I know as a therapist that JRose knows as a writer is that sometimes you need a change of environment. So we're going to give you advice, but it's not always going to do the trick. So check this out. You could come to the retreat. We got spaces left, but not many. So look at
I love that commercial.
And so that's just a little snippet, but we're here to really just give you the freebies, today on what it is that you can do to unblock your creative voice for free. Okay. I'm gonna throw in some tips for the other types of artists because obviously we don't just get blocked when we write it, we get blocked creatively. It's like a voice that you have that get blocked. And so let's talk first and foremost about this book that you got, right? That I've mentioned already, the Writer's Unblock journal. So this is what it looks like, folks. This is how you find it. It's by JRose and Leah V, who's also one of the co-hosts of an open mic with you. So you can go out and get this book right now.
Yes,
right now. So tell me what it is that inspired you to really start writing this journal.
So shout out to Leah V, who is the co-creator of the journal. She's also my co-host for Virtual Voices, which is a virtual open mic that we started at literally maybe a week into this lockdown. We were like, let's do this. And we've been doing it. We were doing it weekly and now it's twice a month. But it's grown to be this amazing platform. And Leah V had taken some time off from hosting to deal with a loss in her family. And when she came back, it was more like she had this idea where she's like, let's do something for the community. Let's create some merch or something around virtual voices. So we were first thinking t-shirts, but then I'm like, a lot of people have t-shirts. I even have my own t-shirts. So I'm like, let's try to do something a little more different. And then she thought, well, how about let's do maybe some journals. And then the idea we started adding to it. And I'm like, well, what do we do prompts, writing prompts? And she's like, yeah, some activities and some games. And then we were all for it. And I went and I did a little research as usual, as you should do whenever you have an idea, something like this. And I looked up some companies and I found a company that was willing to let us customize a journal. They already make journals that you can customize the front and back covers. But they didn't have any clients yet that wanted to actually customize the entire journal cover to cover. And that's where I came in. Oh gosh, how did this happen? My I gotta get my charger for my laptop. But before I do that, we got this idea. We were like, all right, cool. Let's make these journals. Let's write up some prompts. And sure enough, we published this in August of 2020. And it's still available. You can still order it on my website at the Rose Garden events. And there are some free write prompts. There's activities here. Like for me, one of my favorite ones is, well, because this page took, like, we literally designed it, like everything, the cover to cover, every page was designed by us. And so this page was really, really hard to do. Okay. And it's a word search. So you basically you find 3 words in there and you write and you use them. And there's like all these different prompts in here. And it really was created to kind of give back to the writing community, give back to the creative community, and give them something that they're going to use, and benefit from. So it was kind of like I never expected to do something like this, and here I am.
Well, I mean, it's cool because I think, well, go get your charger.
Yeah.
You need some energy. We're going to sing a little song for Jasmine while we wait for her to get back from getting the charger. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section specifically now, because honestly, we got a little break and it's a good time to think about if there's anything in particular you're struggling with, because right now live is the best time to ask it.
Sorry, I really thought I had enough juice in here.
She's back. Don't worry about it. I didn't know how far you had to go, and so I was ready to try to mix it up with all sorts of entertaining things.
I would have asked my son to get it for me, but that would have turned into a whole ordeal, and he would have been like, "Where is it? What are you talking about? I can't find it."
Just so everybody knows, JRose's son, how old is he? 5?
Yes.
He's 5. So that would not have been the most straightforward process.
Yeah, so I was like, let me just get it myself, but thank you.
Yeah. Well, listen, I was talking to somebody the other day about inspiration, right? How it works. And they said something really interesting to me, which is sometimes it comes from inside of you and sometimes it comes from like outside. Like sometimes you kind of need it to be poured into you from the world.
Yes.
I'm curious when you think about how you work, like how you get inspiration when you need it. Where do you get it from? Like where are your places?
For me, a lot of it depends on what I'm creating. So when I'm creating for myself, most of the time that's coming from inside. It's from like either an intense emotion that I'm feeling, and it could be like sadness, or it could be like happiness or love, and sometimes it's just so overwhelming to feel that that I have to get it out. And that's when I usually am writing for myself or I'm creating for myself. But then a lot of my creativity does come from, I'll have an idea, but then there's outside influences that inspire me to build on that, or help me really develop that vision into something more clear. So for me, when I'm creating for others, or I'm creating for projects outside of just me doing something to express myself, a lot of the influence does come from what I see, or me wanting to do something different from what I do see.
Well, it's tough. Well, let me put this question up and say this at the same time. So the question is, shout out to my sister, how do you suggest pushing for inspiration when you're on a deadline but you're not in the writing mood, right? which kind of comes up quite a bit, right? When it's work and you have to create for work, when you have to do a job of it, how do you push past? Because one of the top reasons that people actually report that they have writer's block is pressure. So
yeah,
the deadline just all by itself, it's well, okay, so now where do we go from here? Because I'm out of my pocket.
It is a struggle, and I do go through that sometimes, where I'm just, it's more like even just hosting sometimes, where I'm not really in the mood to like host. I'm tired from the day. I'm just out of it. But then I start and I push myself, and then when I'm in that space, I almost feel better, because I when I step back and I look at what I create, or like the, you know, what we host at the end of the night, like it actually turns out to be something really beautiful. So although I don't like the pressure, I feel like I've written and I've created some amazing work when I had to meet a deadline.
That's true. Sometimes within the structure, there's a little.
I've also come to accept that I am a writer all the time. I'm always writing, even down to when I'm writing a caption for a social media post. I'm writing. I'm creatively writing. So I've come to accept the fact that I'm a writer, and a lot of what I do involves me writing. Even like when I'm doing graphic design, or when I'm doing things like even for myself, when I updated my website, I had to write a lot. And people don't, you know, like even if I paid someone else to do my website, I would have still had to write the written content that's going to go on my website. So I've accepted and embraced the fact that I'm a writer. I'm going to be writing a lot. So even when I'm not in the mood, I have to write. So I guess accepting that is like part of like getting me through like that pressure and that not feeling like doing it type of mood. It's like, I have to do it. This is what I do.
I mean, it's interesting because I think there's a lot of people who can write for themselves, or maybe they can write when there's like a big motivation, but then that structure that you just talked about comes in, and it's like, but are you a perfectionist? Because I also wonder, when people are asking you to do stuff, does that part come in where you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this, but I need to do this like to this standard?
Yeah. I feel like when I'm creating work for others, I'm actually harder on myself, for me, because I have to provide this end product, right? And like then you're gonna put that out there and say that I made that. So for me, it's like I'm putting my name on this. So when I'm working on projects for other people, I am a perfectionist. Like even like writing, I recently was part of a campaign for an organization called Off the Lane, and I had to write an exclusive poem for them about something that I never write about, like the holidays and like my family. Like I never write about stuff like that. And that was very challenging. And then I had to like record the video of me doing the poem. And at first I tried to like just read it, and I couldn't accept what I was creating like that. So I had to take like, I asked them for an extension on the deadline, because I had to take like 3 days to memorize the piece so that I can then film it and it could be what I would consider, you know, good. So yeah, I went into like perfectionist mode.
But I was just talking to one of my friends who's an entrepreneur, and she's an artist, and she was talking about accountability and like how big a deal it is that you just kind of say like, listen, this is not going to be my best work, and you know I want to give you good work, and that there's something more valuable in doing that than just turning in crap and just running away, right? Like, because
I would have been happy with it. I would not.
We don't have a standard. We don't want people to just be thinking that we don't know better. If we
yes, and they're presenting this piece as like this spoken word poet, you know, as part of this campaign. So for me, it's like, how could I give them something where I'm like constantly looking at the off camera to look at the words, and like, and I'm just like, that's just not me. I don't feel comfortable. I had to take the 2-3 days to memorize the entire piece, so that, and like it's crazy because I did my makeup and all that, and then had to like scrap everything, and 3 days later do my makeup again so that I can do this video. It was crazy.
Well, I mean, I know that you're coming up on shooting the next season of your show.
Yes,
Rose experience, right?
Yes. Well, we haven't decided.
I'm saying shooting. You're coming up on you're coming up on releasing the rest of the season of your show.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I know you do is you sit down with other poets quite often, You talk to them about their process, you talk to them about their art. And so I'm really curious, when you talk to other people about creating, what are some of the best like tidbits and inspo pieces that you've been hearing? Because you've been in Philly this season.
Yes.
Then you were, where were you?
Atlanta. We were in Atlanta.
Then you were in New York. These are big, major creative cities.
Yes.
Tell me the hot tips that you've gotten from some of the people you've interviewed.
I mean, I've had the I guess blessing to have been able to sit with not only poets that are up and coming and still like getting their footing in the community, but like even like legends that have been doing it for 20, 30 years. And it's funny because they both equally have provided gems that I'm like, wow, you know, this is like a great thing to learn. I mean, a lot of it, some of the things I hear is like staying focused on creating. They've given me advice on like dating, like when, you know, having like that communication and that transparency with a potential partner about like how serious I take my creativity, and you know how they have to respect my space. They got to respect my creative space, because being a creative and at the level that I'm at, as far as like how much I'm doing, it's time consuming. And like, so I've been given a lot of advice on how to navigate a relationship around that. And
wait a minute now. Now that's interesting. So you telling me you could date a person who would be a creative block, like low key, you could be in a relationship that's messing up your creative flow. What are the signs that you're with a person who's not good for a creative? Like, what do you really need?
Some of the signs are, you know, they get mad when you are too busy for them. You know, they almost are jealous of your art, or they start feeling like they feel insecure about the people that admire your art or admire you as an artist. I mean, I would get it, you know, like I would get it, you know, like, oh, you probably have guys like always in your DMs and stuff like that. And it's just like, I mean, kind of, but on the other hand, you know, I'm here to create. So like, I don't really entertain too many of those conversations of people that are trying to like start conversations with me that for me, it's like, if you're going to slide in my DMs, we talking business, like we talking growth, like let's have that conversation. So people that kind of like want you to put them before your art, or people that aren't busy or have no goals themselves, that's a big red flag for me. That is somebody that I couldn't see myself like partnering with. I've had like, you know, conversations with men that I'm like, so what are your, you know, goals for this year? And like, they had nothing good to say. And I'm like, well, that's pretty boring. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I've heard conflicting opinions on if it's normal to create all the time, right? Like if it's like even natural for people to do it just like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on it?
I don't know, because I'm always.
I know you working out here.
I'm always doing something. I'm always busy. I'm always creating, because I make a living off of creating. So it's like I have to create all the time. You know, I do graphic design, I do video editing for people, I do brand coaching, and all of that stuff has its own levels of creativity in it. So I'm constantly creating, you know, and even for my own stuff, my show, my promo content, you know, the highlights, the graphics, like I create all that stuff myself.
How do you not burn out? Like, what is the balancing act?
I definitely do burn out. You know, there's times that people want help from me, and I'm like, they have to give me a little bit more. Because I can't really create from scratch, because I do get creatively burnt out. And what I do is I literally just take a break. I take like 2 days straight that I'm not creating, I'm not on my computer, or I'll just take at least one full day of like not doing anything. I'll just watch TV and like rot my brain for a little while because I need a break. Creating can be very physically draining. And having a partner that understands that is so important. Having a partner that like won't let you get burnt out, where they'll be like, hey, you've been at this laptop for 72 hours. Do you want some food? Like,
yes, with the basics. Like, yes, come through with the water and make sure I go to sleep tonight,
yes,
and make sure I
hydrated,
right. Like, and I think when people think about self-care and balance, sometimes I think they think like I'm saying, hey, do meditation, do yoga every single day. And like, that's cool. That's dope. But like, people are missing meals. People are out here stressing and like not taking showers, not really doing stuff because they want to be like output. And I think what's even more interesting about it is when you put in the sort of system part of it that you got to work to survive, it gets really scary not to create. Like it becomes like if you choose it as a career and then you have writer's block, like now it's like sudden death. Like you're like, well, can I do it by the deadline to make my bills? Like this is bad. And for me, it was one of the scariest things about choosing, do I do a career where I integrate art or do I do art as a career? And as the child of a Caribbean mother, I chose the career integrated art. Like I could more easily justify the plan.
Yes. I hear that.
I admire and love people who choose the art though, because honestly, it's so much more vulnerable, but then it's also a lot harder to sort of just live off of your art that way, which is why when it comes to something like what we're talking about, like just creative blocks and natural ebbs and flows of inspiration, everybody's trying to figure out like a plan. Like how do I have this happen to me?
There's no set plan. There's no like right way to do it, to be honest. It's just trying to like work within what you can handle. We do spread ourselves thin. I definitely do. And there's times that I do pay for it physically, like I'm physically drained. And I hate feeling that way. And sometimes it gets so bad that like it ends up being something that's counterproductive for me. So I end up being sluggish for like 3, 4, 5 days. Then I feel like that person that like is just coming back from vacation and just doesn't want to go back to work.
I mean, but I feel like that's so important. Like you have to really repeat that for the people in the back. Like it actually ends up working against you if you try to work through burnout. Like it's not gonna be, there's no like and then I work through my burnout and now I'm not like you need to rest. Sit your ass down.
I'll try to listen to that advice.
I'll be picture me in the back of the room. You're not even gonna do anything. You're not even gonna do anything, so you may as well sit your ass down. But the permission. So this is where like things like I was talking about internalized capitalism the other day in this training. And part of it is this, right? It's like you always feel like you got to go. You're not allowed to rest or be tired. And like, you have to rest because creativity don't even work when you're really tired. You just be feeling vulnerable and upset and irritated. What are you, if you think about like, because you got kids around, you got shows to do, you got clients asking you for stuff.
All the time.
When you think about stress and balancing it out, what works? Like what actually helps you get back to resetting after you're almost like totally burnt? You taking care of yourself. I need you in April now.
Definitely sleep. Sleep is one of my favorite things.
Yes,
I like to sleep. Sometimes, and it's been a little bit more difficult to do right now with the weather, but like I like to just go outside, go for a drive, and kind of get some fresh air. It helps me like reset. It helps me feel better. And then sometimes I'll just have like a movie night with my son. and him and I would just kick it and watch a movie together. But like, I also, balance for me has been one of my biggest challenges. It's still something that for me, I'm like, does it even exist? Like, for real,
Yeah.
because I find myself really getting like into tunnel vision, even like I mentioned when I was working on my website, I spent 2 full days working on it, where like I went to sleep at 5 o'clock in the morning. I woke up at 7:30 to take my son to school. I came back, got back on the computer, like same thing till 5 a.m. the next day.
What is that's so seductive about, this is the second time today that I've actually kind of had this conversation with somebody. It's something kind of seductive about doing the work.
It was because I've never attempted web design before.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've been doing so much graphic design, that this time when I did attempt it, it was so much easier to understand. So I was like, it was like it sparked this creative
the
like
passion. That's what that is.
I was like, oh, what could do this? And what if I click here? Oh, that can go here. And like I was like, oh, and like it just, I couldn't stop. I got so addicted.
Well, I don't think that that's bad. Like, I think that's natural energy, like kind of doing its thing. But then you gotta, like, somebody's got to pull the rope. Somebody else to win.
I took like 2 days off after that, and I just didn't do anything. And like, what was great about it though is that I announced the new website, and I felt really, really confident and proud of myself that I ended up getting a client out of it that wants me to design their website. So like, I also, when I find a new passion in something, or find that like I'm actually skilled at something, I try to really like keep doing it because I can easily turn that into something that I can monetize and add to like my services. So I ended up getting a client just because they really liked my website, and they were like, oh, you did that all by yourself? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, can you do mine? And I was like, sure.
Well, listen, that's why, I think that's what's so nice. Maybe that's the part that's seductive, right? Is that it's like growth and kind of feeling like you're getting better at stuff, and that you're getting new opportunities, and the possibilities are open up. There's something that's like just really, really amazing about doing that for yourself. And I could hear you doing it for yourself, like making opportunities happen.
Yeah.
We got a question here, which is, how do you balance having multiple projects and having a family? How are your kids alive over there, by the way?
That's a good question.
Nobody's I'm almost concerned. I'm like, wait, are they in the house? Are they
here? They here. Although balance is very difficult for me, I found ways to kind of bring my family into my art and into like my creative side. So it helps me like it that way I don't have to pick, I don't have to choose. I can have them both together. So like with my open mics, when I used to host them in person, my daughter used to come and help me out, help me set up the speakers, and she used to hang out. And my son now, he sits in the living room while I'm hosting my virtual open mics. And sometimes he comes and he'll like, if he hears a performance he really likes, he'll come into the camera and be like, that was fire. And he'll like compliment it. Yeah.
The confidant.
Or he'll, if he's too lazy to get up, he'll be like playing, and he'll be like, tell them I said that was fire. And I'm like, all right, I got you.
So they know what mom's doing. They're not like,
so they know. And so I try to involve him. So like sometimes I have like a rap that I do sometimes, and he likes to do the beat. So he'll tap on the table and make a beat for me while I'm like.
You think he's gonna be on there one day? You think he's gonna do a little piece for the folks one day?
I hope so. I really hope to spark, like, he still gets shy, so like he'll get like a little shy, but I think that deep down inside he wants to do it. He's just like scared because but I think he wants to.
Well, tell me something, because I know that your daughter is older now.
Yes.
Like cooler, because she 14 still?
Yeah, she's gonna be 15.
Well, listen, I know that's different. That's different energy right there.
Ooh. whole.
How do you stay up with her in the work? Like, is she cool with it? Is she with it?
Yeah, she's cool with it. Like, she gets bored from it though, because she'd rather be like, I don't know, she'd rather watch people play video streaming, those streaming kids that like play.
Is she a creative? Does she do anything?
She's like, she likes to draw a little bit of anime. She's really into anime. She's into like skateboarding. She's starting to like play around with makeup and like, practice doing her own makeup and stuff. So my daughter is into like so many different things, and like that's how I was like as a teenager. I was just like, I loved everything, music, I loved art. So she has an appreciation for art, she has an appreciation for music. She's like all over the place. So for me, it's like I can't even like pinpoint what I think she'll do as an adult.
You also have an event, like a virtual event company, which is the Rose Garden Events. And so I'm curious if maybe she might be curating the experience, because she's sounding like a little bit of an eclectic one over there. She might do that.
Who knows? I can't tell with her. Like, she's so all over the place. I really cannot tell. Like, I can't. My son though, I feel like I know he'll do something with music. He's very musically inclined.
Why do you think it's so much easier for kids to create stuff?
Because their imagination is way better than us. It's they're still in beta. Like, their brain waves are still in like this beta form, which like allows them to be very imaginative. So for them, like, imagination is the whole world is imagination for them. So it's very easy for them to create, and we kind of stifle that as they get older with this like educational rhetoric that we like drill into them. And we pull away like that fun, and we pull them away from imagination by telling them to grow up. Oh, you're a big boy, you're a big girl,
and then there's the part you were just talking about, which is like, you got to make money off it now. Like, so there's no such thing as just like creating to create, which is now, because I'll talk to people, anybody I talk to who's over the age of 18, if they mention something creative, the next thing they say is, maybe I could start a blog or do this, or they start getting into productivity mode immediately.
Yeah.
I'm like, or maybe you could enjoy it. Because just do something for your own.
Because they drill into them that they have to find a way to survive, right? So it's either you go to school and get a career, or if you're gonna do this art stuff, then you got to make it work, and it's got to make it.
It's like the grind, mentality. Like,
yeah, I mean, but we it's coming from Caribbean parents. Like, that grind is instilled in us. Like, even earlier today, like, my son wants to quit karate. So I was like, all right, you don't want to do karate anymore. That's cool. But what are you going to do? What else do you want to do? And I said to him, do you want to learn how to play the piano? I have a friend that'll teach him. At first he said yes. Now today he's like, I want to learn how to draw so then I could sell my drawings and I could. I was like, wait.
Like, you got to be careful, because once they do studies on it, and they find that once you involve a reward system, like once there's an external reward, even if once I liked it for me, it changes things, which is why I like to ask somebody in the NBA, would you play basketball without money? And it doesn't matter if they used to do it. Now it's like, what? Pay me. I got skills. I'm supposed to be like, it's like, no, now you think the reason you do this is for the money. And it's like, they do little kids, they'll give them like tokens, and they'd be like, I don't know, it's more tokens to play with that other toy. And it was like, what? But
yes.
Let's get into this tarot card pull a little bit. But before I do, I'm going to just let people know where they can actually watch episodes of this, the past episodes, and also other great content, which is Clean Blueprint TV, which is actually also an app. So I'm just going to flash it so you can download it while the app.
Download that app.
Oh, look at that little situation. The app is actually quite helpful.
Yes.
And so if you want to go ahead and download that app, that's queenblueprintstv.com. It's a pretty phonetic spelling. We will flash it again. Don't you worry. So that you can see it at the end of the episode. And so this, of course, means that we are in time for the end of this episode, which is our tarot pick of the day, which of course I do because I'm horrible at just, ending things. I'm bad at endings. So I asked the ancestors to work with me to help me figure out an ending that makes sense for this show so people could walk away with a message that's like good and not messy for me.
Yeah.
I do my job well, but it's only because I'm present. And then people be like, the thing that you said, and I'm like, what I say? Did you write it down? Because I wasn't paying attention. Let's see. So we're talking about unblocking your creative voice, getting in touch with your creativity, the childlike creativity we're all born with, but sometimes lose. What do the ancestors have to say? Let's see. And so this is the hangman in reverse. So as you can see, it's a person. And so this is actually how it looks right side up. It's peacefully hanging somewhere uncomfortable. But when we're in reverse, we always know that the meaning gets reversed. And so the hangman is a symbol of realizing that you sacrifice too much and receive too little in return, right? So if for your creativity, and these are the things that come along with writer's blocks, like it's just perfectionism, it's pressure, it's self-doubt, it's low self-esteem, it's sitting there and really telling yourself that you cannot, that you can't, that you're gonna fail, right? That you're gonna die, right? And so those put our systems into shutdown mode. They can put us into anxious mode, right? So when we talk about the hangman reverse, we're talking about losing faith and ultimately just stalling out, right? So instead of getting somewhere with some of the stress you're going through, you just stuck, right? That's the hangman in reverse. Use your free arms to cut yourself loose. Only you have the power to do so. That's the message of the hangman. You have the power to release yourself from all the pressure that you're putting on yourself. It's easier to create than it is to think about creating. And so all you need to do is reconnect. The hangman, you see the reason why she's looking so freaking peaceful? It's not because she's comfortable. Look at her. She's hanging about 1 foot upside down from a tree. The reason that she looked like that is because she's confident that this is happening for a reason. She's going to be all right. And that the struggle is not beyond what she can handle with balance and peace. And so when you start to lose sight of your own power and your own ability to create, you can get very lost.
Yes, that's so true.
So if you need to
love that.
Put the perfectionism on the back burner, mind dump it out and edit it later. Do whatever you need to do to make sure that you get that stuff out on paper and that you don't allow yourself to get in your own way. Thank you.
Yes.
The cards never lie. They don't never lie. And it scares me because sometimes I want them to be wrong, but they're never wrong. So the hangman reverse, yeah, that's the card of the day. Thank you for joining us. You can watch past episodes of People Always Ask on www.queenblueprinttv.com, #QBTV on any social media platform. And you can also follow me on Instagram at People Always Ask and on Facebook at People Always Ask. Just search for us. JRose, where can the folks find you? Let them know your handles.
Well, if you want to get to know more about me, I usually am hanging out on the Instagram corner. So you can find me at my_crumbled_thoughts, or you can look for the Rose Garden events on all social media platforms. That's Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And that's where you can find the JRose experience. You can find Virtual Voices, our virtual open mic. And if you follow me on Instagram, hit the link in the bio. You can get yourself a spot for the unplugged retreat that we're doing in April. You can get yourself a copy of the Writer's Unblock Journal. So just follow me, and everything's in the bio. And let's connect. Let's build. I'm here for it.
And as you can see, JRose, who has been writing for most of her life, is joining forces with me, who has been willingly or unwillingly helping people and also been creative for most of my life, and now has all these stress relief and trauma relief tips. We're going to be out there in April. So if you need some support, unblocking your creative voice, everything's included. We've been picking you up from the city. So if you want to come, please come. It's at the unpluggedjourney.com one more time, just in case you guys are looking for something to do outside after being stuck in the house and bored in the house.
Bored in the house. Bored.
We show Liz. And so when it gets again, please join us for the Unplugged Journey. If you got something to write, I don't even care if it's an academic paper. We're doing massages. We're doing arts activities. We're doing campfires, hikes, meditations, writing workshops.
Everything.
And obviously you don't have to do it all, but it's all there for you to do. So why not come join us? Go to the website. You can check it out now. Thank you, JRose.
Thank you, Chantelle, for having me. This is awesome. I love the commercials. I'm feeling this. This is nice. I like what you got going on, girl.
I'm trying to make it slightly more official. I'm trying to.
No, you official. You official. Yeah. Look, somebody said, "Oh, you're official with the commercial breaks."
Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Yes. Watch me go ahead and do it with the official outro now. I'll catch you at 7:30.
Just coming when you get up or get out or get off. And I'll hit you when I get down and get in and get on. Just coming when you get up or get out or get off. And I'll hit you when I get down and get in and get on. Baby, you could just call me when you get up or get out or get off. And I'll hit you when I get down and get in and get on. Aye, look.